Hello and welcome to my live stream here on Friday, the 14th of June, 2024. Firstly, I would like you to answer me the simple question. If you see me, hopefully a bit more clearly since I got a new webcam, and hopefully the sound since I got a new microphone as well. So can anybody in the comment section please let me know in Danish or in English if the sound and the image is okay before we continue? I will conduct today's live stream in English, but I know I have a lot of Danish followers as well, so I will try to take occurrence of this. But anyhow, all my live streams are available after the finish of them, and you can see them with subtitles on, so it doesn't really matter what language you speak. You can always flip between the different subtitles afterwards. Is anybody able to tell me how the sound is? Eller på dansk, er der nogen, der kan fortælle mig, om lyden den er okay? Hvis I bruger chat-formularen, vil det være rigtig fint. A little flip for Danish there. All right. Yes, Lasse has answered me to say that the sound is good. And in this case, since Lasse has a very quick question in Danish, I will flip to Danish and answer him in Danish. But I will try to continue the rest of the live show in English. Lasse, du spørger, hej Brian, hvordan screener du markedet? Altså, hvordan identificerer du, hvilke aktier med videre, der kunne være interessante at se på? Er det pre-market, eller hvordan? Okay, I can say for the English, Lasse asked me, how do you screen the market? How do you identify which stocks could be interesting? And is it for pre-market you look at, or how is it? So I will try to conduct the Danish and the English answer here straight away. Lasse, for det første, vil det give for mange mening, at man lavede en screening, for eksempel inde på finwest.com, som er en meget kendt side. Jeg kan lige skrive den i chatten her, hvis det er, du ikke har hørt om den, finwest.com. Det er jo specielt nemlig sådan der. Finwest.com er en gratis side, hvor du kan screene efter aktier, og se bare for nogen, der for eksempel gapper op og gapper ned, og hvad de ellers gør. Der er rigtig mange, der kender Finwest, fordi det er en af de første begyndersider, som man ligesom gør det på. Men det, som har været kritiseret for mig, og også for mine prøvekaniner, som jeg har under mit mentorforløb, det er, at jeg vil gerne have nogle aktier, som er særdeles volatile, forstået på den måde, at de bevæger sig inden for et relativt stort spænd. Og så skal der også være en stor omsætning i det, og derfor har jeg bevidst valgt 4 aktier ud, som både jeg selv, men også mine prøvekaniner og dem, som jeg har på mit kickstarterforløb, at de følger specifikt de aktier her. Og de aktier, jeg taler om, det er så i selvfølgelig Microsoft, det er Nvidia, og det er Netflix, og så var de jo glemt den sidste, så jeg skynder mig lige slå over på min oversigt her. Netflix og Nvidia, Microsoft og Meta var den sidste. Jeg kan se, at Lasse han skriver, at lyden hakker nu. Jeg er så bange for, at det er min computer, der bliver presset lidt, Lasse. Så jeg håber, at lyden kan høres nogenlunde ordentligt. Jeg kan lige prøve at lave et lille stund, hvor jeg lukker nogle ressourcer ned for at høre sådan der, om lyden eventuelt så skulle blive lidt bedre nu. Nu har jeg prøvet at lukke nogle ressourcer ned. To answer this question in English as well, the question was, how do I screen, how do I look for these stocks I want to trade? And the answer to Lasse in English was that I could suggest that you use finwest.com, which is a free website for screening, where you can screen for stocks or gaps up or gaps down. But I have selected 4 specific stocks for my mentees as well as my customers who's on my Daytrader mentorship course. And I use these 4 stocks specifically because they have a lot of volatility. They have a lot of buying and selling of the shares, and these are shares that move within quite a big of a span. Those 4 shares happens to be Microsoft, Netflix, Nvidia, and Meta. I would say that Nvidia has changed a little bit after they have done the split, so it's not, how do you say, as lucrative to trade now as it used to be before, but nevertheless it's within the range. And on top of that, I mean, there's several other stocks that I could suggest to trade if you want to trade with good volatility. I'm looking to my right side here in order to see my screen. so I can open up my my account again. Here they are, my American stocks that I could suggest as well. In this case, could be stocks like Alibaba Group. Okay. I get the sound, understanding that the sound is bad. The problem is I cannot really hear it from here that the sound should be bad. Let me see if I can do something, guys. Wait a second. Let me see. Wait a second. Okay. Now I try to adjust the sound just a little bit. Maybe it's not as sensitive as before. Has it improved anyhow? I think, unfortunately, this is a computer problem when my computer gets too overloaded. Yeah. All right. All right. Let me see if I can do something here. If I do something like this, how about the sound now? Is it even better now? Because now I actually removed the plug. Yeah. All right. Okay. So now the plug is gone. Let me see if I can turn up the volume a little bit again. Thank you guys for helping me. There we go. All right. So now I know that I should pull out the plug in order for me to do these live shows. I have also tried to to change my USB ports in order for them not to ride the same USB bus. But I think maybe this was actually the problem because my sound is connected to the stereo you can see behind here, and now I have unplugged this, so now there shouldn't be any problems. I can even try and see if I can maybe hear my own voice in this recording, in this live thing. Let me see. But the microphone is brand new, and I have recorded several videos with it so far, so the sound should be quite okay. There we go. Okay, so now I have tried to plug in myself to hear my own voice, and I can actually hear a little bit of echo in the background, but it shouldn't be a big of a problem. If I try to go closer to the microphone, this should go away. There we go. Yeah, now it should be better. But actually, I'm going to remove these because I can hear too much my own voice. Here we go. Yeah, let's remove those. All right, back to the questions again. The other stocks that I could suggest using, if you don't want to use the Nvidia, Netflix, Microsoft, or Meta, some of the stocks that I have been following, which has a very good span of moving. I mean, that means that they move in a span between $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $20. Depends on which stock it is, of course. But some of the stocks that I could follow could be Apple, it could be Amazon, it could be Alphabet. Some of the stocks that could also be interesting to trade, who give good possibilities, could be stocks like Intel Corp, even though the price is different, and also Alibaba Group. I have often actually tried to trade the stock called Coinbase as well, because it has also quite the volatility. It kind of like fluctuates as Bitcoin, so Coinbase could actually be a possibility as well. Of several other stocks I could mention to follow is Oracle and Procter & Gamble. Starbucks could be interesting. United Health Group. And Tesla is also very good to trade, but sometimes I think it's really tricky with Tesla. But yeah, Tesla is also definitely one of my picks. And then finally, I have the Visa for the Visa card as well. Within the indices, when I trade, normally I trade primarily the Dow Jones, and I also trade the Nasdaq And it's funny enough, because when I started to trade, I actually traded the SP 500, which I'm basically not really trading anymore. Well, once in a while I am, but it's funny because the first, I think, 5, 8, 10 years of my career in day trading, I actually did trade only the S&P 500. So it's kind of a big change here. And also in my beginning of my trading career, I started to trade the Danish stocks because I'm Danish. And it's funny because I never really touched the Danish stocks anymore. But so it is. All right, back to the agenda of the day. The topic for the day was reading the chart. My point is that, first of all, I want to address one very key thing here. A lot of people has a tendency to tell you, educators, whatever, that if only you are able to use this and this technology, this software, or this charting, or read the charts, if you can just read the charts, you will be fine. That means whether it could be price action, it could be ICT trading, it could be smart money concepts, or otherwise it could be some self-invented trading system, or moving averages, crossover, whatever it is. There's a lot of people who wants to tell you guys that, well, if you can just learn this technique, you will be fine. But the problem is, reading the chart and doing your charting in general is one thing, but that's not the main component on why you sometimes get stuck in your trading, saying what went wrong. I have done a small YouTube shorts today actually about this, where I explained that the reason why day trading is so hard is because day trading is actually 80% of psychology. It is 10% of waiting and patience, and it's 10% of execution. So my point when I'm saying all this, and by the way, I want to skip back and say, maybe if you haven't watched any of my other live videos, I would suggest that you go watch them. And especially the first 30 minutes, because I have a topic for all live videos. It doesn't matter whether the video is in Danish or in English, because there's translation to all of them, so you can read the subtitles no matter what language you speak. Especially the last video I did, I had some really, really good pointers for the 30 minutes. So you don't even have to watch the trading itself that I did afterwards. And it doesn't matter, as I tell you, whether you see me one day where I lose 3 trades or one day where I win 3 trades, because at the end of the day, you cannot, how do you say that just because a trader does 3 trades, this is telling everything about him. The fact of the matter is that you need to do it, first of all, in a statistic of 100 trades. And secondly, when you look at your own trades, you don't know when it's going to be a winner or a loser. There is nothing such as called as a safe trade always. Nobody has a 100% win rate. You guys understand that for sure. So the fact is that regardless of the outcome of the trades, I mean, the other day I had like 6 losers, and then after that I had 7 winners. So you don't know in which rows these winners or losers come. They could come 3 winners, 2 losers, then 5 winners, 3 losers, and then so on and so on and so on. But back to reading the charts, and back to the point. The point I'm trying to make is that if people tell you that you are going to be successful if you can only read a chart, you're going to be you're going to be wrong, because this is not going to be enough. The point I'm making here is that what I think is very important is that if you get to learn how to read the charts, then if you master reading the charts, that component is ready. And as I told you, the 80%, 10%, 10%. We got a sound problem again. Okay, let's see if I can do something about it. I will close down my other applications. Okay, I closed down my other applications, so hopefully the sound should go back to normal in just a second or two. Hang on, guys. There we go. There we go. Yeah. The point I'm making is that if you control how to read the charts, you can, you can spend your energy trying to solve the problem with the trading psychology, with the mindset, and solve the problem with the patience and the waiting, because I believe that these two are the key factors why a lot of people are not successful in day trading, maybe even in trading at all. But the fact is that to read a chart or a system is often fairly simple, or at least it should be fairly simple. So you can concentrate, only on the execution itself, and therefore also, how to say, use the rest of the time and the energy in trying to improve your patience and your waiting, and to understand how you need to put your mindset when you're doing the trade. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you remember from your trades, you say sometimes, "Oh, why did I step out of this trade too early?" Or "Why did I enter too soon on this trade?" Or "Why did I enter on a signal that was not there?" And this is because our thoughts tends to tell us a picture on the chart that's not really there. And our thought tends to give us, how do you say, many reasons to either leave a trade or stay in a trade, or do stupid things that we're really not supposed to do, besides following our trading plan. And here's actually when it comes into good play if you have a day trading mentor, because as a trader, you need somebody to be held accountable for. The problem is we as traders are very tough in holding ourselves accountable, being our own boss. And that's why if you have a proper mentor that through his system, if he has one like I do, that I say, well, I will hold you accountable for the promises that you have done to yourself in your trading plan. Because if you're not even trading without a trading plan, it's going to be a problem. I can see the sound is still not so good. Let me see if I can maybe improve it by doing something like this. I have turned down the gain a little bit, so now maybe it's a little bit lower, but it should be better now. The sound should be better now. Or maybe it's just Martin who has a problem with his sound. But let's see. I'm trying to. Okay, thank you, Martin. I'm trying to work on this problem here to see what I can do with it, because maybe I just need to get a new computer or get another better internet in order for this to work. Okay, let's get back to the point, and I hope that you can survive with the sound as good as possible. Anyhow, what I'm trying to say is that if you make your chart analysis or your system as simple as possible, then you actually have a chance of improving a lot, so you don't have to concentrate a lot on the execution itself. And let me see if I can find some examples so we can see what we're talking about. I will now open my Pro Real-Time account. It's a free account where you can see the prices real-time for free. Here we go. I will share it with you now, so I hope everything works. Here we go. On my charts, you can see these are the 4 selected charts I have: NVIDIA, Netflix, Microsoft, and Meta. By the way, if anybody can help Martin tell me if the sound is bad at you guys, it's only Martin who has a bad sound, please let us know. Because I have tried the best I can do to correct the sound. As you can see here on the charts, there's a volume profile as a default underneath here. But basically, I'm not even using, okay, Lester says it's not good there as well. Yeah, I think unfortunately, I will have to try, guys. I will have to look into this and see if I can do something about it. Maybe I'll try another USB port the next time to see if I can separate them a little bit, and hopefully it gets better. Because this is a recurring problem, but I have done so much what I can from this part. And I have seen some of the videos afterwards, and they tend to have only small snippets where the sound is bad, and then it goes back to good again. Yeah. Okay, let's try and go on. I understand if it's hard for you guys. So the point I'm making is that here's the 4 stocks that we want to look at: NVIDIA, Netflix, Microsoft, and Meta. The point I'm making is that I don't even use the volume profile, which is default down here, because you can have a spike up in volume and then the next spike again where you hardly see any movement on the price. Therefore, the most important thing when it comes to the way I trade, the price action trading, is actually the price action itself. And maybe a lot of you guys knows some Hawker, and he uses price action without any indicators whatsoever. I want to give you guys a little tip here. I hope you can hear my sound still, and it's not that bad. I have made here something I call side by side. This is actually a special tip, because basically what I'm using here is I'm using the price action strategy from Oliver Wales. Actually, I can see I miss an indicator here, so I just need to put on an indicator. It's because it's a new chart. Here we go. I'll put on the 200. Well, you could get to learn this as well. I'll put on the 200 moving averages. Here it is. And I have the blue line is the 20 moving average. And I'll do the same thing over here. That indicator, moving average, configure, 200, solid, 2 picks. There we go. So Oliver Wales, he teaches his technique where he uses the price action as well as the 2 moving averages. And he uses the moving averages in order for him to, to help himself recognize where he is in the trend. Like here, you can see on the 2 minute of Tesla, and this is the 3 minute, that from ever this point here and all the way forward until here, price has actually respected the 20 moving average to the downside. And this is basically what he's doing a lot of time, that he's looking about the relationship with price and the 2 moving averages. Like here in the beginning where they're very close, he's looking on the price action with the 2 moving averages. And in this case, my tip here is that when you follow these techniques of Oliver, sometimes he uses mostly the 2 minute moving average, the 2 minute time frame in order to show his technique. I have found out that sometimes when the market opens or during the market opening hours, sometimes it could be a little bit difficult to read the price action. For instance, let's say on a 2 minute time frame. But actually, sometimes there's a big advantage if you flip to the 3 minute or put them next to each other. And now you can see I have put in Tesla here, but I can put in, let's say I put in Apple instead. Here we go. I can hear my computer is a little bit going into speed now. So I think this actually is my computer who's giving us these troubles with, using all this memory, and therefore the sound gets a little bit bad. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if we can get through it. And I'll try to correct it next time and see if I can do any alternate changes the next time. I will try to connect the camera with another bus and see if the microphone can be, kept without this noise. Or else I just have to buy a new computer. All right. Here you can see on both the 2 minute and the 3 minute chart that in some instances, like here from 8 o'clock all the way up, the price is actually respecting the 20 moving average. And it comes after what almost looks like a MA20 hold, which is basically here. Here's where the price shoots in but goes back, and here it gets supported. So the point I'm trying to make is, in order, sorry, I need some water. In order to read the charts, it's very important that the chart is as clear as possible without too much for you to confuse. I'm not saying that you cannot put in, let's say, a line to say, okay, this was the low point of yesterday, or put a line down here and extend it into the future. That's okay. That's quite okay. I'm just saying that through my first many years, I started to draw a lot of lines like, oh, I want to draw a trend line here, and I will see if price going to hit this resistance. And to some extent, it's also okay. But the problem is, the more that you draw on your chart, actually, the more confused you can be about what decisions to make. because at the end of the day, if you are using price action trading, you should look at how the red candles corresponds to the green candles, and in this case, along with the two moving averages, the 200 moving average and the 20 moving average. So this is basically it. So as soon as you try to draw in too much or have too much indicators, it can often, how you say, stir the whole picture, and you can therefore also start to put yourself in a question to say, well, is this really the time for me to enter, or should I wait, or what should I do? It's very important that you can make it as simple as possible, so your brain doesn't start to give you any questions or thoughts about what should I do in this case. That means keeping it very, very simple. I'll see if I can try and update so the sound maybe could go better here. Okay. Let me see if I can do anything about this here. Let me see. I can hear my computers now is running at a high pace. Wait a second. Okay. Yeah, I can see my CPU is really getting under pressure here. Okay. I think the next time I will probably try to use another browser and see if this helps, because I can clearly see that it's my browser that's making the computer go crazy right now, using a lot of memory. So I will try and use another browser the next time. Now I close down this window, and I can hear my computer now goes down and says, okay, now I can breathe again. Okay. I will try to use the other browser the next time and see if it gets a little bit under control, because it's clearly, of course, because my computer is getting, how do you say, under too much stress from this. All right. I will now try to open my, sorry guys. I'll try to open my my platform in another browser in order to see that it doesn't use as much memory. We have 2 minutes before the market opens, so we still have time. Yeah, I can clearly see that my computer is getting a hard time here. It's getting a real hard time. All right. All right. All right. I will try to open up my Pro Real Time in an. Yeah. All right, it's giving me a little bit of hard time here. All right, it's giving me a little bit of hard time, guys, so I will just log in through the Google Chrome so we can get started. We have 30 seconds for the market opening. And I will explain now on the charts what we're looking for. Now you should be able to see my screen with the Pro Real Time. There we go. So what I'm looking for is for the first 2 minutes to finish in order to see if there's a signal coming from one of these 4 stocks. but I have to wait until the first 2 minutes are done, in order not to get a faulty signal. That means, like you can see here on Netflix, it starts with a very green bar with a long tail, but within the first 2 minutes, it can actually change and end up being a red bar, and therefore giving me a wrong signal. But so far, it's shooting up like crazy. So let's see how it goes. I can see now my computer is under a lot of stress, but I hope that you can hear somewhat my sound. Okay, so this is the first minute. The only thing that looks interesting right now is the Netflix, because the Netflix has done a elephant bar above the 20 moving average, above the 200 moving average, and above the fabulous 4 box, which Oliver explains. So I'm focused on this one, and after 1 minute and 30, which is now, I can actually enter the Netflix. So if I want to trade the Netflix, I can trade it now. I will open up my ticker for Netflix. And as you can see now, the 2 minutes has passed. Okay, there you go. So maybe price is going to retract a little bit. I hope it can retract a little bit so I can get a better entry. But technically, I can just enter straight away. This is a very powerful bar, so I don't reckon that the bias is going to let it go like this. Yeah, I'll enter here straight away, and I can even press buy here. There you go. It retraces a little bit more, but this was what I expected. Let me see my entry price on Netflix. I need to adjust my stop as well. Yeah. I put my stop right underneath the green bar. So my stop is right underneath here. I can show you guys my live trade as it occurs. There we go. There is my TD365 platform. So you can actually see my entry was here at 662.30. And my stop is underneath the green bar. That means that on this elephant bar, there could be 70 to 75% chances of a follow through. And of course, I don't know whether this is going to be one of those 70%, 75% where it's going to go good, or it's going to be one of the 20% or 25% where it's going to go bad. And if it goes bad, well, then it's going to be taken over by another red bar immediately. And that means that the trade is over. But that also means that it will be what's called a bear 180, which is a turning signal, which allows me actually to enter the trade, on the reverse. That means going the other way in. So, but we'll follow it now. I can see now that the price went about 50% back. So it's a little bit, a little bit worrying. But what we should see now, hopefully, if this trade is going to go well, is that the 50% mark of this elephant bar is going to hold. I want to flip very quickly to the other screen. Here we go. Because I want to show you guys something here. This is still the 2 minute. We can actually flip to the 3 minute chart here. So we can see the exact same 4 charts, but on the 3 minute time frame. Here you can see the Netflix on the 3 minute time frame. And here you can still see the elephant bar on a 3 minute basis with another red bar currently opening. But what's also interesting here is that here on Microsoft, even though we are in a bearish state and we're looking for more red, this green bar is actually taking red out in 49 seconds, which means that price could go all the way back to the moving averages, which gives you a little bit of scalp trade here. But the other one I was specifically looking at was actually the meta, because I think the meta looked interesting here. These two bars are basically two long, very long tail bars. What I don't like so much is this red bar here has a very long spike and a very long tail. But if these were two tail bars, exactly tail bars next to each other, that would be a very good signal for a long trade, at least a trade going upwards until the moving averages. But you have to understand that this price is in a negative territory, this price is in negative territory, this price is positive territory, and this one is actually more or less within the trap zone. So this one is a little bit, how do you say, undecided. But the most important thing over here is actually on the Nvidia stock, that so far price is respecting the 200 moving average. Even though it's in the trap zone, I would stay away from it. But what's interesting is that it is actually respecting the 200 moving average, and as long as it's doing that, it's still a buy situation for me. Okay. As you can see now, the Netflix has unfortunately done two more reds. I want to go and see it on the 3-minute basis. Because now, after this pulse bar here on the 3-minute basis, what we should have now on Netflix in order for this trade to go well is some follow through. That means that we need some green bar now to go up to this area and continue up here. If there's not going to be this green bar, there is no follow through. On the contrary, you can see down here on Microsoft, there is currently follow through from this long elephant bar here. So Microsoft actually produced a very good entry here with the stop underneath here, and then continues at least up all the way to the moving averages. But I will carefully monitor this Netflix trade, because we need some price action to go up in order for me not to exit the trade and accept that this was perhaps one of the 25% where I was not correct. But I will monitor it sharply and have some water. I'm very sorry about the sound, guys, but I'll try to do what I can to fix it the next time. I think, unfortunately, it's a combination of my computer being overloaded with the memory, and also the case the memory of the Google Chrome. It's not so much the computer, because I can run 8 tabs with the Dow Jones on my computer every day. I have 3 screens on it, no problem. There's not a sound, but the Google Chrome browser sometimes gives a little bit of hard time. All right, if we look at Netflix now, we can see that so far the 50% level of the elephant bar is still respected. And as long as this level is respected, I'm not so concerned about the trade, but still I'll need to see some green, some continuance, because right now it technically looks like the beginning of a 3-bar play, but that means it has only 23 seconds to continue and make it a 3-bar play. We still have 20 seconds. So if this green one shoots up here for the last 16 seconds, we have a 3-bar play. And from there, we are looking for continuance. But the better, of course, in this case for me in the entry, if you could say what could have done better, is that after the 1 minute and 30 seconds, when the elephant bar was not even completed, I should still have entered maybe after 1 minute 30 seconds, 1 minute 40 seconds. This is called the anticipation entry. And when you do this, you actually get a shorter stop than when you do the confirmation entry, which was basically what I did. What makes me a little bit confident in this case is that you can see here on the 3-minute that this elephant bar, if you look on the 3-minute, is actually born right on top of the 20 moving average. And this is normally a very good sign. So so far it's looking okay. As in, you can see now it's climbing, so that's, of course, good. So my trade now is actually going into plus again. This is my pro real-time account, which is just virtual, but I can flip very quickly so you can see over here. Here you have my pro real-time account, so you can see this actually is a real account. And I can also flip to the 3-minute view, so we can see exactly the same. Actually, there's a small difference here. If you notice this bar here, this green bar here, that it doesn't look exactly like the one on per real time. And it's unfortunate because the broker doesn't give me the first minute of price data over here. That's why it's good for me to use the per real time with the TD365, because then I get the first minute of price data for free and per real time. Which of course would have been nice in this case, that I could have got the same here, but I can survive with it. It's okay. So now there's only one thing left for me to do, and this is basically to manage my trade. And that means that the market will tell me how much I'm going to get. That means that instead of saying, okay, I'm going to get, I want to have 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, whatever, you could have this good to have positive expectancy. But the problem is my stop is actually quite long. So if I need to have my stop in this case, because it's underneath the green bar, I need to have quite the move. So what I'll be looking for is if there's any signal in the price that tells me that this party is going to stop, because the market doesn't care if I have 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 expectancy or whatever I have. The market really doesn't care. I'm trying right now to see if I can see previous price action history in these levels that we are with Netflix. There is only one earlier here where the high was 664.16. So this could be a reason why price is struggling a little bit here, because this technically is a double top. It was the 29th of May that it hit this high. Yeah, I can see previously we go all the way back to 2021. We actually have a higher note of 700.38 as the highest. Yeah. Yeah, 700 seems to be the highest point. I'm trying to see if I could find any suggestion of where to close the trade if I don't see anything in the price action. 679, 667. Maybe there's a level here around 664.59. Actually, it looks like this level needs to clear this level and go all the way to 677, 680. But it looks like this is a level of some congestion. That means the price has had a hard time getting through here. I'm sorry if the sound is a little bit bad now, because now I could actually see my screen was stalling a little bit. So I'll try to restart the applications in order to see if we can get them to run again. Let's see. Klaus, you say that the sound is good again? I think it's actually every time I close down the applications and the computer doesn't have to struggle that much, then everything goes to be fine. Okay. And as I restarted the application, I can see that Netflix is now really fighting a lot with this level. As I told you, I could see there was some congestion in this level. Let me see. I'm just trying to reopen the windows again. I'll see if I can try and open the other window in another browser window. Let me see if I can do that. Hang on a second, guys. All right, let's see. Okay. 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 At least I can see that Netflix has returned again. I'm trying to log into my Pro Real-Time account, but it's giving me a little bit of hard time from Microsoft Edge. Hang on a second, guys. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right. We should be back in business. There we go. So now you should be able to see the Pro Real-Time again with the price of Netflix continuing upwards. But as I told you, I could see there was some congestion to the price from earlier on in this level. So that means it needs to clear the level quite nice, which is having a little bit of hard time doing actually. What I could see now is that because it's doing like this, we have push, pause, push, pause, push. That sooner or later we will get a retracement to the 20 moving average and then maybe a push up more in order for it to continue. But that means there needs to be some retracement. And I don't think I want to sit and wait for that. And as we can see here now, definitely Microsoft, as I called out, was a very good buy all the way up to the 200 moving average, exactly like I told. And Meta has become a buy as well because it has flown through the 200 moving average as well. Yeah. Yeah. All right. This is my TD365 live account. And I think I'm going to close the trade here because it will take a lot of time before it goes down to the 220 moving average in order to retrace and go further back. And I also accept the fact that it has been struggling. And the fact is that I say that that this could be a congestion area. But the point I was trying to make here is that I was reading the chart with a simple technique from Oliver Velez with the elephant bar, which is born on the 20 moving average. And after that, we had about 35, 40%, almost 50% retracement on the 3-minute. And then we had continuance, we had follow through, we had more green bars coming. So what I could do from here, on case we're going to take all the time, is that I could, after my entry, I could count 3 to 5 red bars and say, okay, this is where I take my profits off, which I'm actually going to do now, because now we're actually within the 4th green bar after my entry. And after that, I could wait for price to retrace a little bit and do maybe a color change at or near the 20 moving average. And from there on, I would do another add to position. So basically, as you see, this way of trading, this price action trading with only 2 moving averages is very simple. Of course, yeah, I had to look at prior price history, even though it was, let me see how far away it goes. It was quite a long time back. Let me see here. Yeah, you can see the prior price history. Actually, I should do like this. The prior price history. I know I have my stochastics and RSI, but just ignore this. Here, the prior price history was back on the 29th of May. So that's not that far away. But if we go to the weekly frame here, you can see we have to go all the way back to 2021 to see that price was struggling here. So that's why I can see that this was kind of a turning area for price. And that's why I will say, well, I can take whatever I get. And if I get a signal to continue this trade, I will do so. Yeah. And now I can see my screen gets a little bit stalling again. Let's see if I can revive it. I'll try. Yeah. My screen needs some oxygen. It needs to breathe. Okay. Here we go. There we go. All right. So now I'll flip back to the screen again. Here we go. So now you can see here my Netflix trade. You can see my entry was at 662.30, and it's very important for me to show this because this is a real live account. So I can show you that I'm actually doing live trades. This is not hindsight trading. This is not trading that is done, after it happened or something like that. And this is actually a real money account. And I just use one CFD on my broker because I'm just here to prove a point, really. I could use 100, doesn't matter, but I'm just using one. And that's because, as I believe, that if you have the right procedure and you continue to do the right procedure, you're going to be fine. So now I press here and I said, well, you're going to close it. I say submit. There we go. So now the trade is closed. I will just flip very quickly to the other screen. There we go. So here's the other screen. And as you can see, in this case, on the Pro Real-Time platform, it said that if I close it now, I will make $6.49. So I press validate there. So in this case, it would have made $6 or 600, depending on how many stocks it was, but the quantity was only one. It could also have been 100, it's no problem. Then it would have been $600 instead, which would have been nice because it's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars of 3 minutes. This is 21 minutes. 21 minutes to make $600 would have been fair. That would have been okay. Yeah. Hang on a second, guys. I will try and see if I can. If I can show you. Wait on, hang on a second. There we go. Oh, my screen is giving me a little bit of hard time now. Just a second, guys. Yeah, I don't know why my screen is giving a little bit of hard time here. So I will just snip it out instead because I don't know why it's doing like this. There we go. There we go. For some reason, my screen was a little bit messed up. So, but now I can see, I just cut it out here. So now you can see the Netflix trade. These are London time. So the time was 15:32:16. London time is 1 hour behind us. And the exit was at 15:53:11. I know it says 14, but again, this is London time. And I did one entry in Netflix from 662.3 and I exit at 667.59, which is in Danish kroners, 52 kroners. And it's just in order to show that this is real live trade done real live and not hindsight trading or any server trading from any how do you say any well, you can set up servers in the MetaTrader 4, so you can actually pretend that you're trading. But this is the cutout from my trading platform, so you guys could see it. All right, so today in the price action, we got some really nice signals. We got a green bar here, which is an elephant bar because it's more extended than all the other bars. It's like 3 or 4 times the size of these bars, and it happens to be born directly on the 20 moving average, which was in a positive state and is above the 200. So this area, you can call it ultra positive area. On NVIDIA, you had actually here where price took out the previous high of the day, well, the high of the beginning. So you had a small entry over here. On Microsoft, you had a scalp possibility, and scalp is because in this area underneath the 20 moving average, underneath the 200, we are basically looking for red and more red to come so we can short it. But in this case, after the elephant bar, you could basically have entered here with a stop underneath here and let it run at least all the way to the 200 moving average, which it has done now. So that would have been a nice scalp, but you should expect that price could actually bounce back from this area and go further down. And the meta trade, well, let's go see in the 2 minute if we see something better here. If it looks even better there. I don't think so. Yeah, at least you can see here, actually the Microsoft trade actually gave a very nice warning that it's going to shoot up because these two here, these two very, very long tails of these two candles tells the story that sellers pressed the price very long down, but the buyers didn't refuse to give up without a fight and went all the way back. So if the sellers cannot press the price down, there's only 2 possibilities. Either price goes sideways or price goes up. If it goes sideways, well, you will basically go into zero if you enter along here. But if it goes up, which it did, you will be profitable on the trade. But that's why I said this was actually a very good example when we talk about this side by side. Let me go back to it again here. I call it side by side, and I can definitely recommend you guys to do the same thing. If you're trading, it could be a stock, it could also be an index, doesn't matter. That here, when you look at these two side by side, I mean the Microsoft the 2 minute time frame, the Microsoft the 3 minute time frame, you actually get 2 signals of buying. Here you have very long tails that get taken out by an elephant green bar. So you can enter on the elephant green bar with a stop under here and just ride it as a scalp for the price going back to this area. Also here you get the entry after here, after the red one gets taken out. But remember, it's a scalp because you are in a negative territory. That doesn't mean that the price cannot continue up on Microsoft. It can continue all the way to heaven for that matters. The point I'm just saying that if you're going long in an area where you want to see red and where the price is in a negative area, you should expect going long down here is just something where you might get 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 candles, and that's it, because we're still in a negative area. But in this case, Microsoft has shown a lot of strength. So if, let's say, if you enter this trade here, let's do this for an example, because that's actually very good. There we go. There we go. You could either enter when the green one takes out the body, or you can enter when the green takes out the top of the red one here on the 3 minute. Okay, and then you put the stop underneath here. I know, I recognize this is quite long stop, but nevertheless, let's see how long it is. Here we go. It's about $2 long. It's not that crazy. So of course, if you have a long stop, you just put in less shares or less CFDs depending on what you're trading. But in this case, with a $2 stop, you could have written so far the price all the way up here. So the question now could be, when do you take the money off the table? Well, you can again use the like you say, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green bars, and then they take off money. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 6 green bar, basically these small ones here, a little bit hard to count because I mean these two ones is basically overlapping each other. So I would count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this 5 one happens to go into a resistance area where the price had resistance the day before up here. So when the price came up there, it would be a very good reason to take off the money no matter what. And you can see you would have gotten a $3.31 gain with a $2 or $1.95 stop. And that is more than enough. That's quite good. So if you had 1,000 shares, well, it's $3,300 in this case you would have made. And the cool thing is that you can still basically trail your stop. So if you don't want to do it like this, you can say, well, until green gets taken out by red, I will just move my stop. So my stop is here, then my stop is here, now my stop is here. And this one, when this one is done, I will move my stop up here. So that means you're basically trailing your stop all the way, because you have no idea. We don't know how far Microsoft is going to go up before it basically retraces. And when it retraces, it can retrace back to the 20 moving average and then continue further. So the only way you could do this is actually by trailing the how do you say, the price, the stop all the way up, and say, well, the market is going to give me what it's going to give me. Actually, the stop should be here underneath the green bar. This one has to close first. So you could just trail your stop and let the market give you what it's going to give you, and accept that you're not necessarily going to get 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 5. It's going to be different how many bars you get. And also accept the fact that you're basically down here, you're entering on a scalp, because it's a negative area where you enter a long position, and therefore you shouldn't expect necessarily to get this long stretch. 1 or 2, 3 bars would have been more than enough. You can just trail your stop from here to here to here to here. Just trail your stop all the way up. It's no problem. So if this one now goes down and take out this green one here, well, your stop would have been there. And we talked about the entry being here. So even if you get stopped out there, let's say you do get stopped out there, that's still $2.28 in your pocket. So that should be fine. And you could say, well, this is, if it's $2.28 is only one-to-one scenario, this is not going to make me rich. Well, technically, it is going to make you rich if you can be consistent enough to repeat this over and over again. Because as I'm trying to explain, it's different how much the market is going to give you. Sometimes the market is going to give you 5 bars, 10 bars. Sometimes the market is going to give you 2 bars, 1 bars. So first of all, the entry, I mean, if you have through your strategy, you have the right entry. Second of all, but most important of all, your risk management. Where do I put my stop? This is the most important thing. Where do I put my stop? And I don't move my stop, I keep my stop. So the entry, the risk management, and then the trading. These are the 3 parts there is. And that's why it's good to have like a trading plan that tells you when to take your profit or when to exit a trade. So you don't have to sit and basically think what you're going to do in the middle of a trade. So I hope that this has helped you guys a little bit in order how to read the charts, to understand, just to summarize it, that keep the chart as clean as possible. Remove all the indicators. As you can see on my chart, I only had the 20 moving average and the 200 moving average. and only use the price action. I remember in the first many years, I used a lot of indicators, and I can still use a Fibonacci extension or a Fibonacci retracement in order to measure out the move. But basically what I'm doing often is that if I have a move, I just write a line about the 50% mark, so I know where this 50% mark is. And this could be 50% of the whole move, or it could be 50% of the bull elephant bar in this case that we saw earlier. So try to keep it as simple as possible, so all your trading becomes as simple as possible, because believe me, there will be enough fighting to do when it comes to the psychology, all the thoughts that's going to try and put you onto something like, say, oh, I want to add here, or no, I just want to get out here, or something else. Of course, as I did before, I say, well, I looked at prior resistance areas, but what I did is I counted 5 bars for my entry position and said, I'm going to take here no matter what. Because I don't know if it's going to be 7 bars or 9 bars. But what I can do is I can do a second entry if the price tells me that there's going to be a second entry. But the price is going to tell me if there's a possibility. I just have to concentrate on following my plan. But as a finishing, I would like for you guys to say, well, if you want to get more good content about day trading, go check out my other videos on my channel. I can also recommend that the broker that I use, TD365, has the best prices. They have the fixed spread. So go check this one out. You can find the links in a lot of my videos for this broker that I use. They have, as I told you, also negative balance protection. They have single currency account, so you can have all your account in one currency. That means you don't have to, how do you say, to do this change of money from dollars to Danish kroner, or from dollars to whatever all the time, and also lose your money there by all these exchanges. So it's very cool that you can just have one currency in this case. That also means that you're not, as how you say, as exposed to a currency problem. Let's say if I was having my account in US dollars and the US dollars start to fall, then it could actually be quite a problem, because then I need to change my money into another currency. So I just keep my currency in Danish kroner, because this is also easy for me to administer, and the Danish kroner seems to be quite stable in this case. So that's another good reason for me that I'm using this broker, actually. But you can check it out in the comment section, in the descriptions. You can check it out in my other videos. There's a link for this broker in case you want to use this. And also, as I said, try to check out my other live videos, because there's very good information there. And on my channel page, there's also a possibility for you guys that you can actually send me a personal message in case you have any problems or questions about my trading, or what I'm doing, or my mentorship courses. So thank you very much for looking. I'm sorry for the sound problems, the sound issues. I will try and see what I can do with my computer and my software. So maybe the next time the sound hopefully can be a little bit better. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice weekend. Bye for now.